Hey, what is good, my beautiful people? Welcome back to Wines, Bites and Beats. My name is Scott and I'm here to give you a video tutorial that will help you when you are out and about having your scoff. Have you been out? Have you enjoyed a meal out with your loved ones, your loved one, your dog, your cat, your fish? Have you been out? If you have, well done you. If you have been out, I hope you've enjoyed it. It was a big relief for me when I first went out to the pub for a meal, for a pint, let alone a meal. It was an amazing experience, and that's the key word I'm going to focus on today, experience. Today's video is to give you some useful tips on how to handle wine when you're out and about, because it can be a very nervous situation sometimes. Now granted, there's a lot more things to be nervous about at the minute than picking the right wine when you're out and about having your scoff. However, being out, if you're handed the wine list, sometimes you can mess yourself and go, brain clicks into default mode and says, glass of house white, please. We can do better than that. Know what I'm saying? So let's get stuck in, shall we? Come on. Number one, first thing is first. You are out in a restaurant or a pub having a meal because you bloody well deserve it. So bear that in mind. You deserve to be out. So why would you want to go with the norm and give yourself what you would normally have? So when we get given the wine list, the easy option here is to look at it and think, oh my god, I'm perplexed, it's complex, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know this one, there it is, I'll just stick with that because that's what I always have. So that's fine. If you know what you like, you know what you like, and I can't argue with that to a degree. However, you're out for the first time in ages, and even if you've already been out, the next time you come out is still far less frequent than you used to, I imagine. So when you are given the wine list, here's my top tips on what to go for. There's nothing really to avoid. It's about being confident in yourself and being confident in the staff that are working for you to give you a bloody good time. So the reason why we stick to what we know is because in this country, especially in my experience, we are creatures of habit. We judge a book by a cover. We say no to Chardonnay, but yes to Chablis. We poo-poo Chardonnay based on one bad experience of one, then we say bollocks to the rest. If there's a question, why do we always stick to what we like? It's because we like what we like. We are creatures of habit. There's the answer. The challenge, if we reverse this one, the challenge is ask, 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 ask. If you're looking at the wine list and think, there's the one I want, what I really, really want with a zigga-ziggar, then you're going to go for it and you're comfortable. So the wine that you get in return when you say, there it is, that's for me, I've had it before, I'll have it again, is because you are comfortable. And that's fine. But if you're out for an experience, would it be nice to take yourself out of the comfort zone? I'm all for seeking discomfort. Now, it doesn't sound great when you want to be uncomfortable with a wine, but what I mean by discomfort is go off the beaten track a little bit. You're out for the first time in a while. So you want to make this wine very special. I hope you do anyway. I don't want to go out and ask for a glass of house white because I can have that at home. I've had it before, I could have it again, but I want to go off-piste. I want to go off the beaten track. I want to try something that I ain't tried before. Easiest thing you can do is rely on your staff. Staff are better trained than you think they are. If there's a wine on the list that you can see, it doesn't make sense to you, can't even pronounce it, it's there for a reason, bear that in mind. Here's tip number 2 based on that one. Go for wines from obscure places. Now, when I say obscure, I don't mean in the middle of Mongolia somewhere. However, if you see wines, for example, from Croatia, Belarus, Hungary, the Lebanon, they're not obscure. It's just not what your mind associates when it comes to wine. We're looking for words like Spain, New Zealand, and Australia, which produce some stunning wines. But go for the obscurities. Go off-piste, go off the beaten track. Because that one wine, those 2 wines, that one red from Belarus, that one white from Croatia, that beautiful fizz from Romania, that would have beaten another well-known wine to get onto that wine list, to compete with the others. So it is going to be good. I promise you that. Good tip. Ready for the next? Come on. Right, now here's the one where confidence is king. We don't like asking, do we? We really cannot stand asking for something. If there are loads of options of wines by the glass, where it says 175ml, 250, 125, whatever the hell it says, if it's available by the glass, you are within your rights to ask for a sip. Just ask. It's already open because it's by the glass. They're not going to be popping one open and thinking, I can't sell the rest because it's by the bottle. They will happily, they should happily pour you a wee drop for you to sip on and go, do you know what? That fizz from Croatia was really bloody good. I think I'll have some. And that's the decisive moment to take you from the Prosecco that you were going to have which is all right, but we don't want all right. We want king good. So when you say, can I try a bit? And they say, yes, sir. You have a sip and you go, oh, that floats my boat. Then you'll ask for some because you've had a little tipple. So you should give that a go. Ask for a sample. If a wine is by the glass, ask, ask, ask. They would much rather you try 3 wines and get to the one outstanding wine that you really love than just go for the house that they pour all day long. They're very happy to do, but they would be much happy if you tried 3, chose one that makes your experience go from here to here. Get me? Okay, stick with it. So you're probably going to be having this with something to eat. Now, I've done a video before on food and wine pairing. You should definitely go back and check on the Wines, Bites and Beats channel and look up the food and wine pairing video. You should definitely do that anyway. But here's 4 things to remember. Easy things to remember when you're out for a scoff. To think of when you've ordered your food and trying to think, what do I choose next? Where do I go? What wine do I have? Remember these things that are found in food that are helped by wine. Number 1, fats and oils. Anything that is fatty and or oily, or ideally both, i.e. salmon, tuna, lamb, pork belly. Anyone hungry? I'm hungry. Anything fatty and oily loves a wine of any colour, white, red, pink, fizz, orange. It loves wines that are very high in that horrible word that we know likey called acidity. In other words, box fresh. That wine that you sit back on and go, ooh, that's good. Pinot Noir, Sauvignon Blanc are your 2 easy examples. They are sky high in acidity. Fats and oils love acidity and they get married. They have a lovely time, make babies. They enjoy each other. Fats and oils loves acidity. That's number 1. The second one, let's say you've ordered food already. So you're sipping away on that lovely fizz from Croatia and you're thinking, bloody good choice this, John. Who's John? Who's John? Bloody good choice this, John. But you're thinking, I really want steak. I really, really want steak. I haven't had a 12-ounce ribeye in damn ages. I had one at home, but it was shite. I really want one now out for my scoff. I'm going to order one. Any dish that contains a large amount of protein. By the way, I've just used steak and lentils. That's any form of protein. That's cheese. That's all your meats. That's your fish. If it's a big hunk of it, a big old bastard bit of protein, you need tannin. In red wine, if you're thinking red wine, you need a full-bodied red wine that contains tannin. And that's a wine that when you sip on, it sticks to the teeth and it makes you go... It's big, it's bold. Think things like Bordeaux, Cabernet Sauvignon, Shiraz and Rioja. All of those wines contain high amounts of tannin, the dryness factor. And this is what happens. You take a swig of that lovely Rioja or wine from somewhere else that's similar to that and you go, oh, it's delicious, but it's an half coat in my teeth. Oh, how do I get rid of that? Well, you could have some more, couldn't you, and keep it wet. That's not going to work. You could have a great big piece of steak, chomp it down on the fork, chunky chip, peppercorn sauce, grilled Tommy. That tannin disappears with the wine when it's high in tannin. Disappears, and all you're left with is the dark fruits of the wine. It is glorious. Tannin loves protein. Next one. Now listen to this. If you were to go for the house wine, let's say it's a cost thing. Let's say you're out on a budget and you go for the house. No problem. If you go for the house white, if you want to make that nicer than what it is, you could have a bag of crisps and it will make it better. Because the fact is salt highlights certain fruit elements in wine and it makes it better. So wherever you have salt on the plate of food, let's say you're going for a classic fish and chips, let's say you're going for some white bait, some calamari, crispy chicken wings, that salty element's going to highlight the fruit in the wine. So you could go with the bog standard Pinot Grigio, light that up with anything salty. Bag of crisps, salted Marcona almonds, oh, Padron peppers, oh, white bait, anything salty, you're going to win. Last one, avoid this one like a plague. If you've got anything spicy on your plate, if you're out for a curry, or if you're out for a Thai, or if you're out for anything that contains spice, it does nail like alcohol. Forget high alcohol. If you've got something that's sky high in ABV, avoid spice like the plague. It is disgusting, savage, get rid, leave, go home and play Uno with John. Next one, price. Now, not everyone wants to spend loads of money on a bottle of wine in a restaurant. I totally get that, but here's the thing to do. Spend £10 more than what you would normally do if you are out during this period and you're going to splash out a bit. You don't need to go and spend 50, 60 quid. The golden psychological barrier of £29.99 and £34.99 is where you would ideally need to be to get the optimum wine. Now, remember this. If there's a bottle of wine there that says £21.99, why would you spend 30, 35 quid? well, you get a lot more bang for your buck up to the £35 barrier than you would do the 21 quid barrier. Guaranteed fact. If you can afford to spend 30 quid on a bottle of giggles when you're out for your scoff, you should do it. Bearing in mind, ideally, if that was a wine from somewhere a little obscure and it was still 30 quid, instantly you're going to have a good one. Lastly, try to be adventurous. Now, it's very difficult, especially if you're out at the moment and it's less frequent than normal, which, let's face it, it bloody well is, unfortunately. But it is what it is. It's very easy just to stick with the norm, to stay comfy, to be familiar. And I totally get that. But remember, this is an experience. You deserve to be out. So you deserve a right banger of a wine. And you're only going to do that by using these tips. Be adventurous, go off the beaten track if you can. Spend about 30 to 35 quid per bottle of wine, any colour. Ask your staff, ask your waiter or waitress. They are far more equipped to answer your burning wine questions than you imagine. You don't need to be asking the pH levels and the residual sugars and all that stuff. That's whiff-waff for longer down the road. You just want the best bottle of wine that's going to complement your food with whomever you are enjoying that experience with. Eating out is still fabulous. I still consider it a treat, an absolute treat, now more than ever before. So stick with these tips and you will be golden. Leverage your beverage, enjoy your wine. So you know where to find me. Instagram is where I live most. winesbitesbeats.com. Have a little look, see that. New website up, ready to go. All the videos up there, loads to explore. Stay tuned for the Wines Bites Beats channel because there's loads more content coming. I'm just going to keep ploughing through it and I'm going to do them weekly now. And I'm going to do them weekly. See you soon. Bye.